All right, Dick, you ready to start the show?
Yes.
Are you ready to start the show? Come on, you need to be more
Yes.
pep. There you go. Come on, pep it up. Pep it up. Let's go.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, we're starting the show. Wow. Ooh. Listen, we're going to talk about Talk to Me, the horror movie that literally everybody is talking about. You can't go down the street without hearing about that. We're going to talk about Cobweb, Only Murders in the Building. We got a lot of things to discuss. But before any of that, I got a crazy story that I think everybody is going to enjoy that I read about mere hours before I stepped to the mic. And this is insane, okay? So get ready for this. You're going to like this, Dick. You're going to like this. So there is a couple in Massachusetts, right? And they started this website, I think about 2019, somewhere around that time, where they give like news updates and they report problems on sites like Amazon, about sites like Amazon, eBay, Etsy, these big sites that you can buy and sell from, right? Mm-hmm. So everything's going well. They're getting a lot of traction. They say people on Wall Street are reading their publication because these are, big companies, and a lot of people had their eyes on this publication. So eventually, weird things start happening. Now, these aren't too crazy. I mean, these things kind of happen to people in the public eye, I'm assuming. They start getting tweets, tweets that are like death threats, essentially, shit like that. They start getting like negative tweets to them in their inbox. And it got to the point where they were like, listen, some of these tweets we can't even discuss. Like some of the stuff that was coming in our inbox we can't even talk about, which I'm assuming is probably like gore and stuff like that, because I hear that a lot. Like people get like gore sent to their Twitter as like a way to mess with people. So they start getting weird tweets and stuff. Then stuff starts coming to their house. At first, they get a voicemail from this company, and they're like, listen, we can't get you the wet specimen that you guys wanted. And when the husband calls back, he's like, what wet specimen? Like, oh, you guys ordered a pig, right? And he's like, I ain't no fucking pig. I ain't ordered no dead pig. So then they start getting other stuff to the house. They get a pig mask from the movie Saw. They get a funeral wreath. So a wreath that is like, hey, sorry for your loss. And then they get a book that says how to deal with the death of your spouse. Okay. They are also noticing that their address is listed online for yard sales and sex parties. So they probably got guys coming to the house like, yo, I'm ready to fuck. Like, what's up? Ready to do this, ready to do. And then just like, this is a private residence, my man. You wilding out right now. So there's a lot of weird things going on, and they're scared because they're getting death threats, and they're like, where is all this coming from? It is just like all of a sudden they said like, bam, they're getting their email is getting like signed up to all these newsletters, so they can't even read their email probably because they're just getting signed up to like, edible arrangements, this and that. Their neighbors are getting sent porn and other stuff in their name, okay? So they're like, what the hell is going on? They're already afraid for their lives. So they call the cops, and the cops were there for one of the openings of the package for the Saw mask. Now, so there's really nothing the cops could do at this point. It's like, we have no evidence, like nothing, I guess, is actually nefarious. We can't really do anything. But one day, the husband is driving around, and he notices a van tailing him. So he takes a picture of the plates, gives it to the detectives, and the detectives get on the case. They find out that van is a rental van. So they go to the rental place. They're like, listen, who rented this van out? They find the name of the person. Detectives bring it back to the family, and they're like, no, we don't know who that is. But they Google it, and it's an employee from eBay. Okay? So now they go, what about that wreath? So they look up the wreath, look up where it came from, and they go, okay, we found out that it was bought with a gift card from a supermarket. So they go to the supermarket, and they find out on the security camera, the person that bought it was the same bitch that was tailing them in the car from eBay. All right? And that supermarket was like 8 blocks away from the eBay headquarters in Silicon Valley. So they go over there, and they're like, we want to talk to this broad. They call her down. She never comes. She's like, oh, yeah, I got a meeting. I'll be down. Don't worry. I'll be down in a minute. I'll come down. Never comes back. So eventually, they do all this digging, they do all this research, and they find out at the end of the day that this went all the way up to the top. This was all eBay's doing because this couple wrote some article about like the payments that eBay gets, like that the CEO and the CCO get, like how much money they make, like a salary thing or something like that. So they were pissed off about it. And when they found out, they subpoenaed them, got text messages, got emails and everything. They found out that this whole thing was set up from the CEO and the CCO. They had text messages going back and forth like, we're going to end these people. I want to see ashes by the end of this. I don't care how long it takes. So these motherfuckers really sent out about a 7-people crew to Massachusetts, and they launched this whole campaign to mess with these people's lives. So at the end of this, like all 7 of these people went down. All of them got some kind of time. One of the guys, who I believe was the security guard, and he was like doing some kind of stuff. I forget, they didn't really specify what he was doing, but he was doing enough to get 5 years locked up. Now the chick that was buying all the stuff and sending the stuff, she got 1 year of home confinement. Now the CCO got let go, okay? And he is now the head of the Boys and Girls Club in Silicon Valley. So you see how vindictive this fucker is? Imagine one of these kids mess around. What's going to happen to them? One of these kids.
Boys and Girls Club?
Imagine one of these kids mess up. What's going to happen? It's going to ruin their lives. Yeah. Well, they take care of their own over there. They just bounce around from this company to that company. And the CEO was eventually resigned with like $51 million in a package. So this is outrageous that this is going on. The CEO was like, I didn't know that this was happening. Like, I didn't know that. So what does it mean when you say, I want to see ashes? I want, burn these people to the ground. I want to end them. I'm not saying that he wanted them dead. I'm saying, they even addressed it in the article. I don't know whose lawyer it was, but they were like, when they say things like that, it doesn't mean necessarily that exact thing. Like, yeah, we know that, but your intention was to ruin these people's lives because of whatever they said. I mean, these are this is like the pettiest thing I've probably ever seen in my life. So when you talk about big business, I mean, I didn't know it went this deep. You hear about Amazon shutting down the guy's home because they thought that they heard racial things from his doorbell, which is not even true. It's like, what kind of doorbell would you have that says racial stuff? Like, the guy had his fucking headphones on, the driver, and they shut down the guy's house. I mean, like,
well, I thought that Alexa thought she heard.
It was the driver. The driver heard.
Was the driver?
Yeah, the driver was like, "Yeah, I heard something racist." The guy had his headphones on.
Oh, okay.
No, Alexa didn't do it. So they shut the guy's home down. Right. These people are out of control, man. And it's like, I guess some of the people wrapped up in this, like at the lower ranks, were kind of forced into it. But like, I don't love my job enough to do all this. I don't love my job enough to be sending saw masks. And, I'd be looking for another gig if this was my job. My man got 5 years in prison because of this. But then the CEO and the CCO just walk.
Well,
51 million.
It's a two-tier, several-tiered judicial system, and to be honest with you, I don't think that this is. I think that this is just the beginning.
Oh,
I think that people with power and money, that the class divide is getting so wide that I think you're going to just see things like this all the time.
Just people attacking with
people with wealth, and people with power are already looking down on people who don't. And I think the time is just going to come where, people start getting just physically pushed out of the way in public. People are going to be run over with vehicles, have security. I really have a feeling that that's the way our society is going to go if things keep going the way they are.
You think it's going to get that crazy, that blatant, that obvious?
Well, let me put it to you this way: that I have that little regard for the upper classes.
Right. So you think this is gonna? That's like I think that this is the horror
beginning.
Movie stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know if it's gonna go that far, but it's definitely gonna be. There's definitely gonna be stuff like this always happening, like under the radar, where they think like they're gonna get away with it, and they're just gonna be flexing their power, and they're gonna be like doxing.
Well, they
people.
did get away with it.
That's true. The main culprits, the people that put this into action, did get away with it. And I guess their plea, well, first of all, they're rich. And also it's like, well, we said X, Y, and Z, but we didn't say to do all that. We didn't tell them to. So it's like, yeah, the people that did it are going to get in trouble because they did it. But the people on the head are like, well, we're just going to be absolved because we didn't give them direct orders that they know of.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I mean, maybe you're right. You could be correct. You could be correct. This is a wild story, one of the wildest stories of the year for me.
It is.
Insane. Another wild story for me was, so everybody remembers when Cardi B chucked the microphone at that girl's face, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I still don't know if that was rightfully so. I don't know if that was rightfully done, as we discussed on your show, but we did not discuss on this show. At first, I was like, yeah, you do something stupid, you need to get the mic thrown at you, because I'm a big fan of when audience members get their ass beat for doing very dumb things like that and being aggressive towards an artist and throwing things at the stage. And on that show, I think it sounded like I was saying like I thought that like the pop stars need to jump in the crowd and do it. I don't expect that at all, because obviously you don't expect that. I was just saying that at the shows I went to, that would have happened. So I didn't want to make it seem like I believe that Miley Cyrus needs to be jumping in the... I mean, if she does, that'll be amazing. But somebody needs to beat these people's asses. I'm not saying it's got to be the pop star. Somebody needs to bust these people the fuck down, because it just has to happen. Like, you can't be throwing a phone at somebody's face while they're on the stage. You know what I mean? Uh-huh. So I didn't want to make it seem like that. But the Cardi B thing, you see it. You see the drink get thrown at her. I don't know if I would have thrown a mic for a drink out of them, whatever, but to each their own. But then another video comes out of her being like, hey, I want everybody to throw water on me. I want these people to throw water on me. So people throw water on her. And then, like, I don't know how many moments later, the other person throws a drink on her, and then she gets mad and throws the microphone. So till this day, I have no exact stance on that situation, because I was not there.
Mixed messages.
Exactly. So I cannot comment on what happened. But you said that somebody's suing. It's another person suing, because you said the mic also hit them?
Well, she threw the mic into the crowd, and it hit this random person that wasn't involved.
Yeah. And
apparently it injured her shoulder.
Like I said, even if it would have grazed me, even if the wind of the microphone would have flew by me,
you would have
on the ground. On the ground. I would have just been screaming, I'm visually impaired. I didn't see it coming. What was that? I would have never got up. I would have been on the stretcher. You would have had to peel me off that fucking ground, bro. I wouldn't have moved a finger. I would have retired after that one. I'll tell you that right now. So, speaking of the microphone, it was reported the other day that the microphone was sold on eBay.
Oh,
Guess
yeah.
how much
was that again?
Guess how much the mic was sold for?
For some reason, 30,000 comes to mind.
$100,000.
Oh my God!
Somebody brought that microphone for. All right, absolutely insane. I've seen stuff like this before, and I wasn't that surprised, because I've seen outlandish things like that, which we're gonna get into in a second. But apparently, as I was talking to Cemetery Girl about this, and she was like, there's no way somebody actually bought it. I think it's like a joke. Somebody had to be joking around. And, boom. She wasn't wrong, because that article came out a few days ago, but I just look it up, because a lot of times I'll look up the article one more time before I do the show to see if there's any updates, and boom, there it was. The person who bought it has not contacted the seller back. They didn't put any money down. It must have been a joke. It must have been a scam. They were just messing with them. Who would buy that thing for $100,000? You say that, right? But then you think people would do that. Somebody would.
There was somebody that wanted to buy it for $100,000.
It might. I don't think somebody wanted to. At this point, I think it was somebody just messing around. Like somebody put in a fake bid, and they never contacted them back.
Okay,
but
all right, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I could see somebody buying that, because I don't know how many months ago it was where the company that made the big red boots and I think those Satan shoes, remember that company? Maybe we know about the Satan shoes. They made the world's smallest Louis Vuitton bag, I think. It's microscopic, okay? So when you buy it, you got to buy a microscope. Some fucking person bought it for like $67,000, and that was official. What are you gonna do with that? You're gonna put that in the foyer and say, "Hey, check that out. It's the world's smallest bag." And then you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go, you know what's more interesting than that? And I'll look at them right in the face and go, this is the world's smallest bag. That's great. But I'm looking at the world's biggest idiot. That's what I would say if I saw somebody with that freaking bag. Like,
can you imagine having somebody come over to see it and they sneeze and
oh, that shit better be in glass. That better be in glass, man. That sounds like something that'll be in Willy Wonka. Like, one of the rooms where he's like, this is the gum that if you chew it, it'll do breakfast, lunch, and dinners. And this is the world's smallest bag. And when you pull it out, little chocolates come out. It's like who's buying that? Who would make that? And it was a tribute to Pharrell. What is Pharrell microscopic? I don't understand the tribute to Pharrell.
I don't get it either.
I don't understand. Then I saw the other day somebody bought Napoleon Bonaparte's hat for like $1.1 million.
Well,
this is the ugliest fucking hat you will ever see. It's
is it like the big hat?
It's the big hat with the twirl. Literally the ugliest hat you could buy. Like, you cannot even wear that.
But it was Napoleon's hat. I mean, come on.
And
he's one of the most notorious figures in history.
And so I got the hat, and now what? You want to come look? Hey, you want to come check out Napoleon's hat? Then we just stand there holding our dicks. Yeah, this is cool. This is great. Now what? What do we do? What do we do now, Rich? What if I put it on?
That seems a little bit more reasonable.
If I put it on, will I become Napoleon? Will I get Napoleon's traits?
No, that
like if I sing
sounds like a true collectible.
If I sing into that Cardi B microphone, will I then sound like Cardi B? Like, what is the purpose of this? If I put the hat on, will I then be possessed by the spirit? That's what I would want. Like, oh, if you buy the hat, the legend is Napoleon possesses your body. Like, that I can see. That's a movie right there. But all right, so here, come look at Napoleon's hat.
When you put on the hat, it turns your. I forgot what he had. I think he had like gangrene on his hand. Yeah. That's why he always posed with his hand inside his. His coat.
Yeah. I heard when you put on the hat goes.
Now you know you're retarded.
Every time you put it on your head. That's what I heard. That's what it said in the article. I think the Times put it up. You just say, hey, check it out.
Now you know you're retarded.
And then that's it. Your day's over. You're done. $1 million? You can't think of literally anything else to spend money on. Now, I get it with certain things, okay? Things you can wear. To a certain extent, I understand, okay? Things that you can wear that are rare. I mean, I think the most I ever spent on something, I don't know how much I spent on that Frenemies hoodie, but it was like, I think shy of $200, okay? But only because it was like a classic, not a classic, but it was an infamous podcast that was shut down already. All this drama surrounding it, and that was the only drop they were ever going to do, all right? That was like a piece of history that I was buying, but I would have never spent over $200. And I'm going to wear that around. If I'm buying Napoleon's hat, you better see me with that shit at Starbucks. I'm wearing it while I'm taking a shit. I'm wearing it while I'm doing everything. If I'm paying $1 million for that, that shit is going to be glued to my head. $1 million, okay? Certain things I could see paying a lot of money for. But like when you get these things that it's like you're just going to put them in glass, I don't understand. Like,
you could lend it to a museum. You could,
and then what?
Resell it down the road.
Now,
when it's
like,
worth
okay,
more.
So art, I understand. Yeah. So maybe you think the person bought Napoleon's hat so they could resell it.
Maybe,
somebody's gonna buy that for more than. The only scarier thought is if somebody bought it for $1 million, somebody buys it for more than $1 million. That's even scarier. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is cool that it has survived the test of time. Like
the way the dollar is losing value, it should be no time that it's.
Oh, it's gonna be worth $1 billion.
$2 million.
Yeah, just in terms of inflation, yes, but not for how sought after it is.
Yeah.
I have I have my first Supreme shirt. You know what Supreme is?
No.
Supreme is a brand that they were very notorious for having very expensive items. Like they sold a brick or something. They sold like a crowbar. People waited in line for years, for like, I was about to say years, for freaking hours to buy a freaking crowbar. They sold they would do collaborations with like Louis Vuitton, and they just had for most of their stuff was just astronomical prices. So I actually have my first official design. I think this is my first designer of clothes. This counts as designer. I feel very special, and I'm flexing on everybody right now. This is a special moment. But this was gifted to me, so I didn't pay a dime for it. This was gifted to me. It is a Shrek / Supreme collaboration. So you see, it's the Shrek logo, but it is a Supreme brand. You like that?
Yeah,
it's very special, right? So stuff like that, I could see. Like the crowbar. That's what I'm saying. Like the crowbar, I don't understand. A brick, I don't understand. A basketball, I don't understand. Like they sold a basketball for like $2,000 or something like that, maybe even more. What the fuck? But like stuff you can wear and stuff you can eat, those things I can understand. Like, so let's say you had an incredibly expendable income, right? What kind of stuff would you engage in at that point? Where you're like, I have money to burn, I got money to blow, I could buy Napoleon's hat right now. What kind of stuff would you be in buying?
Probably Star Trek memorabilia.
Nice. Like we're talking like from the movie?
Well, anything.
Okay.
You know, I mean, especially if you could get some original show stuff, that would be great.
Right. But this is stuff you're just going to put behind glass.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, you could have it out so people can see it.
Right. And then you just look at it. Cool.
What else?
I would feel like you'd be, the first thing I think would be cars, no? You'd be zooming around with this car, with that car.
Oh, I'd have all kinds of cars.
You'd modify every car with the stick shift. Every car would just get redone.
Yeah, I'd have cheap cars with sticks, expensive cars with sticks.
Yeah. I think I would just spend most of my money on food, like all of it. But I wouldn't be the person going to France or going to these special restaurants. I would just buy a lot of food. That's it. I would just buy food all day from all these places, but I'm not the kind of guy that would go and I don't get the what is it about the restaurants that have when you go to France or something and they have like a piece of lettuce and then they have like an ostrich egg on top with a drizzle of chocolate and then it's like $600. What is that, a scam or no? What is that?
I don't know.
It's got to be a scam, right?
I've since I've never been there before and tried it, I don't want to say it's a scam. I mean, I've had a chance to, I had a chance to have an award-winning wine.
Uh-huh.
And when they talk about wines having texture and things like that, when I drank that wine, I never had an experience from a wine like that. Mm-hmm. And this is a Hudson Valley wine in New York State. So I'm not putting it down because it's in New York State, but it is a local wine that won an award, and I could tell why it won an award.
Now, how much was the bottle, you think?
That I don't know.
Okay.
Because the person who had the bottle was the sister of the man who owned the vineyard. So I have no idea how expensive it was.
Right.
I've had food at a higher end restaurant that's been cooked to perfection.
Yeah. Now, what's when you say high end, what are you talking for the plate?
I would say that my dinner was maybe like $65.
All right. Okay. Right there. That's good. See, I'm not saying you need to buy cheap. What I'm saying is when it comes to the clothes and the food and even the collectibles, right? You can get expensive, but at a certain point, it's obnoxious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially with the food. I'm going to let you finish, though. But especially my thing with the food is you get such a little quantity that this bite, better make me nut in my pants for me to spend $300 for a fishtail and a piece of lettuce. Okay? But $65, I'll blow that easy. I'll blow that easily on food to commence.
So, well, I mean, that's the thing. So you have, somebody who's considered like a world-renowned chef. They bring out like a couple carrots stacked with a little medallion of meat and something else for color and a drizzle of something. I mean, it's gotta taste. You would think it's gotta be like delicious. Like the carrot has gotta be like parboiled to perfection.
Right.
But I don't know.
Like, hold on. But like,
I mean, we went to a restaurant in Utica, which was a little bit more expensive than the restaurants that we've been going
and
to.
that shit was awesome. Okay, and we didn't even drop that much bread. That's what I'm saying. Like, after a certain point, how good can you get is my point.
That's my question: is how much better?
Like, the only thing you're gonna do is go. You know what? So we'll get the like. What did we spend on our plates? We spent less than 100 on our plates, easily. Right? We spent like 40.
I think maybe just under 40 a piece.
40 on our plate, and we were fucking mind blown. We were like, "This is awesome," and this was like, "All right, you can't." It was, what do you call it? What do they call it? Where you can get there's no sides. You have to get each thing individually.
Oh, a la carte.
It's a la carte, which I was like, you know what? This better be good, because this is feels like a ripoff. No, I was like, I will do this again. The carrots we got were phenomenal. The steak we got wasn't as good as Texas Roadhouse, I'm going to be honest. But it was still good. It was still good.
It was better than Texas Roadhouse.
We got to go again. For me to really...
The steak was better. It was cooked better. It just didn't have as much salt.
Listen.
Texas Roadhouse salts the heck out of those steaks.
We went to Texas Roadhouse the other day.
So good.
We went to Texas Roadhouse the other day. That was the best steak I ever had in my life. Okay? It was awesome.
They salt the heck out
I
of it.
don't understand. No, and they don't. They put an adequate enough salt, because I'm a guy who does not like a lot of salt. I don't like things like I hate Spam because it's too salty. I think they put enough salt. I've had saltier steaks at TR actually from the last time, because even the steak I had, maybe you had it different. The steak I had, I was like, you know what? They've been saltier, and I was like, I wanted a little more salt on mine. Okay. But maybe we two different salt portions on ours. Do
you think they're putting a little MSG on their steaks?
They're probably putting heroin in that, like in China. They're probably putting heroin in that because, or like the restaurant. What was it? It's like, oh my God, I forgot what state it was in. But they just found a Japanese restaurant. They found heroin in the food. People got sick. I think it was like Florida or Texas. Yeah, you guys got to check it out. It was, because I wish I had the article pulled up, and I wasn't even going to talk about it. You just reminded me. But they found heroin in the food. And I was asking Clay, like, what do you think that is? And he said he thinks that they were spitting in the food and they were on heroin, because that's one of the only drugs, from what he says, that like if you kiss somebody that's on heroin, you can get high. So he thinks that they were giving it that garnish on top and people were getting high. But you think that, like, why would they be putting heroin in the food? Like, I feel like Clay has a reasonable explanation, but what would be the other reason? Because I know they do it in China. They get caught in China for putting opium in the food and heroin in the food to keep people coming back. That we've seen that. Me and Clay have seen that on YouTube before. So I mean, we're not in China, so we don't know if that's exactly happening, but that's what we've heard about, and we've also seen other things. So why not believe it? So yeah, that's what TR must be doing. They got to be putting heroin in the food, because steak was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
Let me put it to you this way, as somebody who's been addicted to narcotics.
I've never been, so I can't compare.
Yeah, they're not putting anything in those.
As somebody who's never been addicted to narcotics, I will say that it tastes like they have heroin in the food.
Because we'd be there every day if they were doing that.
Yeah, I would go every day.
With my personality.
I would go every day for sure. I would go, like, Don't let me live any closer. They're lucky I live 30 minutes away. I'm lucky I live 30 minutes away, basically. If I live down the street, forget about it. And they don't do Uber Eats. If they did, forget it. Forget it. Oh, my God. I know if you have too much meat, you get diarrhea from that. I would just be. My insides would be just screaming after a week. That steak is good. And even like with steaks, I find it's not like after a certain point, like how good can you get? Like, and it's a person. I guess at one point it's personal taste because my mom was talking about it. She was like, I really love filet mignon, and me and my dad were like, it's pricier. They say it's better, but I've had it a few times, and I still like a strip better. Like. Even though filet mignon is like more expensive and it's more sought after, it's more expensive on the menu. I'll go for a strip any day. A ribeye is supposed to be better, but I still prefer the strip over anything. So like, good.
Well, when I went on vacation to the Berkshires this year, and I went to the farm, to get their, homemade ice cream, and then saw that they had steaks for sale in their freezer. I got a sirloin. That's not the best cut. It's not the worst cut.
Mm-hmm.
But I got a sirloin, and it's probably one of the best steaks I've ever eaten.
Bam.
It was fresh from the farm. So I can only imagine like what the porterhouse was, which was twice as much.
Oh.
Must have
like $60.
Like. What's that?
How much did you pay? You paid $30 for that steak?
Yeah, I paid $34 for mine because it was a 2-pound steak.
So imagine
17.
Going back.
It was $17 a pound.
If you go back,
the porterhouse I think was $30 a pound.
You gonna get that when you go back? 60 beans. You should do it. You got to see now.
Yeah.
You got to see like how good it could be, but you might be disappointed.
To be honest with you, I really almost bought the porterhouse, but you know what stopped me?
What?
What if you don't cook it right?
Oh God, like my dad, he bought that
that's
tomahawk.
What stopped me.
Yeah, my dad bought that tomahawk and he overcooked it. He was pissed. Man. I'd be pissed too. And he bought it the same way from like a farm. So it was like the big like talk of the day. Like, yo, he was like showing me this tomahawk. It's gonna be sick. Overcooked it. He was pissed.
I know. I feel for him.
I hate when I do that with a steak. I hate it. So I do it once in a while, and it's just like ruins my whole night. And I'm like, fuck.
And if say it was like the first time I went to that farm, and it was closer to my house where I'd be bringing it home and cooking it.
Yeah.
I would have bought it.
Yeah.
But I'm on vacation staying at, one of these condo resort, buildings. And, they've got these thin little pans and,
yeah, not adequate enough for a steak, probably.
And so, like, I'm like, am I going to take my chances on messing this steak up?
Yeah. Yeah, because you're going to get like a real thick steak. You can't really cook that in that. That's why I use the broiler on a lot of stuff like that. Because I know the broiler's going to fucking cook it, and it's going to cook it fast. It's like, when I put it in the broiler, if I put it back in for like another minute, sometimes it totally will cook it like way more than I expect. So you really got to keep your eye on that. But I just do the broiler because it's way easier for me.
Right. Yeah, and I even forgot about the broiler because usually here at home I cook the steak in a iron frying pan.
Yeah, that's how you got to do it. That's how you got to do it right there, or the grill.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you this, okay? To get away from the food real quick. So I saw this thing today that creeped me out. It was these, I don't know who made this, but it was AI versions of these rappers who died, okay? And it was them explaining how they died and like talking about themselves. So they used AI for the voice, and they like got a picture of them, and they made the picture move. So it was them talking about how they died. So it was like Juice WRLD, and he was like, hey, it was just my birthday, and I went on the plane, and I drank a bunch of pills, blah, blah, blah. And then you would go to the next slide, and it was like, hey, I'm this rapper, and I was doing great, and I got shot and everything. I'm like, why would you make this? This is literally the creepiest thing. Who wants this? Why would you want to see this at all? Like, am I off about that? Because like there was like sad music behind it. I'm like, this is not necessary. This is dumb. And it's like creepy. Right? Like, do you like think about somebody you admire that died? Would you want to see them like AI version of them?
No.
It's creepy as hell. I remember the Kardashians did that before. I think it was them, where it was like one of their birthdays, and they like did this whole hologram of their dad. That would just make me feel odd if somebody would like be like, hey, here's a hologram of your dad. Like, he never said this. He never did this. Like, I don't want. I don't want to see that. It's not them. What is the point?
Do you ever see where you can take a picture and run it? I don't know how my sister did it, but it animates the picture.
Yeah.
Like it makes the person look over here, look over there. So she did it with a picture of my grandmother when my grandmother was younger. And it really, I really liked it. It was a little weird at first, but I really liked it. I thought it was appropriate, and I wouldn't want to see any more than that. And especially, I would not want her to talk.
Now, maybe if it was something she said, right? Or they said, and you're going to animate it like that, that's different. That's something that came from them. But that thing is soulless. That thing is creepy, and it needs to be deleted, and it needs to be destroyed right now. Inappropriate. But then it got me thinking, right? Because I think a lot
of traditional lines are just continually being crossed.
I don't see it as a traditional line. I see it as personal, preference, and I just think it's distasteful, really. I'm not a tasteful person at all. You know me. I think Texas Roadhouse is fine dining. Like, so I'm not a tasteful person. It just gives me the chills to see it. It's like, this is not them. There's no spirit. There's no soul. It's odd, and it got me thinking, because what I do think is cool though is when they take an artist's voice and they make them sing another song they did not sing. Like they'll take not John Wayne, who's this, like Frank Sinatra, let's say, and he'll sing an NWA song. It's funny, it's cool, like it's just funny that they do that, right? They'll take Patrick Star and they'll make him sing, Adele's Hello. That's cool, that's cute. But eventually they're gonna do this because they're doing it with movies too. You see how in the Wonka trailer, did you see the Wonka trailer?
No.
Absolutely boring looking movie. Absolutely boring, by the way. I don't even know who's watching that, okay? Check that trailer out if you can make it through. So boring. But they got, I don't know who it was, one of these guys that you grew up watching, probably like, Hugh Jackman, or it was even an older guy, some Kurt Russell or somebody, and he's playing a Oompa Loompa. But it's, they shrink him down so it's like CGI, right? And they did it with Paul Walker, which is appropriate to a certain, like the Paul Walker thing was all right. They had to finish it up, wrap it up. They used his brother in there. They got the family's consent. That's cool. But they're going to start doing this shit. I know it. Where they're going to be like, hey, you remember, who's a great, hey, what's his name? The guy that, Bruce Willis. You like Bruce Willis, right? He has Alzheimer's. He can't remember any lines. But he's coming back. Die Hard 12. It's gonna be AI. It's gonna be da 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 da. Hey, you like Jim Carrey? You like his silly faces? We're doing The Mask 3. He's gonna be back, and it's like he's already dead. Jim Carrey's dead, and they're gonna bring him back. They're gonna do it. They're gonna do it with albums too. I know it. They're gonna be like, hey, you like Pop Smoke, right? Remember Pop Smoke? We got a bunch of writers. They wrote like him. And we're going to drop an AI album. Are you going to support these pieces of shit or not?
No.
You're not going to. So who's your favorite artist? Blondie?
Yeah.
Blondie, they put out an AI album. Everybody in Blondie, they die or something, and they put out an AI album. Are you supporting it?
No.
Thank you. I don't know who's going to be listening to this shit. I don't know I guarantee you mad people will. But it's
what's the point?
The point is to make money, and the point is that if there's a market for it, they will do it, and there will be a market for it. I don't know how many, but there will be a market for it. Now,
there shouldn't be a market for it, but
there's a gray area, and I will tell you what it is. There are artists that never write a thing, right? So it's like, all right, they already don't write anything. They already just sing it. So you just put the AI voice. It's like whatever, right? But if I don't listen to many people like that. So it's like people I grew up on, they write their own stuff. Like their soul is in that music. I'm not listening to something they didn't write. You know what I mean? And even just the AI aspect of it, I'm not supporting it. So I won't support any aspect of it. I hate it all. Is that where you're falling on this as well?
Well, I mean, without getting really super deep, I mean, I just have a problem with, I have a problem with AI where it comes to replacing people.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
mean, what's the point? Especially when you're talking about creative pursuits. You know, I just wouldn't I wouldn't be interested in to see what AI's interpretation of Blondie would be, because I like Debbie Harry.
Well, I don't think it would be well. Now that's a good point you brought up, right? Because I think it depends when this starts. If they did it right now, they would probably get a room full of writers to write it, and they would just do the voice. But at some point, which I think AI is getting close to, they could just write the songs too. So then you just get the AI to write it, and you get the deep fake voice to perform it. So then all of it will be cut out. The whole creative process will be cut out, because people are going to talk about that's already going to happen with scripts. That you say, hey, to whatever AI you're using, I want you to write the greatest horror movie you can make, and it just knows, because it's scanned. It's going to go to the classic horror movies of all time, the ones that are highly rated, critically acclaimed. Scan that and just add the elements in, and it damn well may make the greatest horror movie you've ever seen. It may. Who knows? But that's where I think it's going to go. It might start with a writer's room, and then eventually all that's going to get cut out.
So this brings up a very dismal view of the future that I hold.
Absolutely.
So do you want me to share it, or
you've already talked about wealthy people slitting our throats in the middle of town? So why not get it? Why not get any crazier? Why not?
So as I watch the media and I watch the debate on climate change continue to rage on, I'm firmly on the side that we are exacerbating the heating of the planet through carbon and methane emissions. So as we've seen that nothing has really been done. It's actually just gotten worse. That I'm like, I can't wrap my mind around, could profit be the motivation for people to bring us to extinction? And
Yes.
some people said, of course, Richard. Yes. So, handing that over as a truth, that people are willing to end the humanity as we know it for profit. I'm thinking that the people, the richest and the most powerful people, could possibly have gotten together and said, let's ride this thing out as long as we think we can, to make as much money as we can, and then let's start genocides throughout the world and kill off 3/4 of the people. But we'll make sure that AI and robotics are able to do the jobs and do the tasks that all these people were doing, so the rest of us can enjoy the planet. And then, the planet will start repairing itself, because the emissions will dramatically go down, because there's billions less people.
That is your theory.
That's a theory.
Well, I have to give it one of these, okay? Because that may be the greatest theory I've ever heard.
What did you give me? I didn't hear anything.
I gave you an applause. Gave you an applause just now, because that may be the greatest theory I've ever heard, because I could believe that. That is something I could believe for sure. It's very dismal, as you said, but it could be very, very, very true. I even saw they're trying to replace the Chipotle guacamole maker with AI, with a robot. They're trying to get a guacamole maker with the robot. They're trying to get Amazon employees, like in the warehouse, trying to get AI to do that, trying to get robots to do that. So why not? If they're going to take over the supply chain, that will cut out humans getting them what they need, getting these, mysterious figures, some mysterious, some not, what they need, right? Because what do they need the lower class for? To do the jobs, right? Like you said.
Right.
So if they're taking over, wasn't it Pepsi that got the AI trucks now doing the driving?
Oh, do they?
I think I saw that. Don't quote me, but I know they're working on it. They're working on it, right? They got the self-driving cars. What comes next? Self-driving trucks that are bringing supplies. Okay, so they got the supply chain on lock. They got all these fast food places on lock. Whatever they need is going to be taken over by AI. Why would your theory be wrong?
Yeah. I'm not buying things from robots. I'm just not going to do it.
It's disgusting. I mean, there's, like I said, with everything, there's a line, like, okay,
Yeah.
self-checkout. Great. I love that. Everybody loves self-checkout, even though, like, it has its issues. You know what I mean? Like, certain things, ChatGPT may not be the worst thing in the world, but when you allow it to go to a certain extent, that's where you mess up. When you allow AI art to be a thing, when you allow AI to make an amalgamation of artwork that already exists to then create artwork for somebody else, that doesn't make any sense to me. Create an AI that can make something from scratch, and then we could talk because it can compete. You know what I mean? It can make something on its own merit. But if you're, because that's what this all is. It's just scanning things that have already existed. And I saw that Sarah Silverman and a few other people are going to sue, I think it's ChatGPT, because it's like, well, how do you, like, it was like, oh, somebody said, can you give a synopsis of Sarah Silverman's book, right? And it was like, well, ChatGPT didn't buy the book. How are they getting the book? So it's like they're suing them for copyright infringement. Like, you got the book illegally and then blah, blah, blah. So they're suing them for stuff like that. That's what this all comes down to. If you make an AI that can do something from scratch, let me know. But you're not. All this stuff is coming from a foundation that human beings built, bitch. And then you got the AI, the robots that are going to be patrolling the streets that have no mind. Not that everybody patrolling the streets now are of sound mind. But at least they have humanity and they can make a decision that a human being would make. You know what I mean? But I don't want no robot doing security. I don't want no robot doing anything, doing terrorist watch, okay? But having an AI, like let's say we have a facial recognition that we use in the military, that's fine. You want to have like some kind of robots on remote controls that we send down the front line so we don't take any damage. That's fine. But we don't need anything taking away from the human job. Doesn't make any sense. I'm not like, oh, let's burn every robot to the ground. That's dumb. That's totally dumb. But once you get past a certain point, it's just like it's evil. It's weird. It's not good. I don't like it.
Yeah.
So wow.
I think that we should be making jobs for people like FDR did, putting people to work and building parks and, I'd say hire people to sweep the streets.
Well, I mean, it comes down to like, when I think about what I experienced growing up, where I always had a job and I knew anybody I knew could have a job pretty much any second. You could bag groceries. And even when I was coming up, the bagging was kind of going out of style. Like they didn't do bagging that much anymore, but I think in other states they did. It was like not that hard to get a job when I was coming up. You know what I mean? They had jobs where you could clean, you could do this, you could do little tasks like that. And I feel like it's not going to be like that for my niece and nephew. They're not going to come up and be able to do little jobs. Like, we want you to clean this. We want you to just do this one singular task to get experience in the workforce, because those little jobs will train you for the bigger job. You're going to learn how to work with people. You're going to learn how to get there on time. We don't want to overwhelm you by giving you a massive job to do up front when you're 16. What do you get your working papers when you're 15? Something like that, right? You get your working papers like at 15. We're not going to put you in like some kind of crazy job. My first job was washing dishes and taking money, working the register. Easy, not easy stuff, but easy stuff where I was. It wasn't a lot of volume. So, stuff like that. If you put that stuff out, what if you put these kids out of work, what are they going to become? Mm-hmm. What are they going to do? It's really, really dismal stuff, like you said. So now that we literally brought everybody down and painted the future to be the worst place ever, let's change gears and let's talk about the movie that everybody is talking about, okay? I can't go anywhere. I can't go down the street. I got Uber Eats today. I got McDonald's. The guy gave me my order. He goes like, here you go. Boom. He's like, hey, by the way, talk to me. You got to see that. I was like, I will. Don't worry about it. I go on my phone. I see a video. Talk to me. Greatest horror movie of the year. I see the security guard. I say, hey, good morning. He goes, hey, you watch Talk to Me yet? You got to check it out. I'm like, all right, I will. Can't go anywhere. And I'm going into this movie thinking, there's no way. There's no way it's that good. These people are getting paid. This is fake. Okay? Finally sat down and watched it the other day with all of that in my mind. And let me tell you, these people were absolutely correct. This was a great movie. Number one, they know how to start the movie. They knew how to start the movie, and you saw it as well, so we'll get your opinion on it too. They knew how to start the movie. Boom, right into it. I'm not going to give any spoilers in this review, so don't worry, okay? But it started with a punch, and the pacing of this movie, to me, was phenomenal. It was great. Even when there's not a demon coming out or some kind of weird, over-the-top thing happening, there was no wasted motion for me in this movie. Everything felt like it had a purpose. This movie was great from the beginning to the end. They knew how to do it. And to me, I watch people talk about how scary it was, and I'm like, what kind of movie is going to scare me at 28 years old? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying it was scary, but this movie was definitely unsettling, and it was definitely creepy, and it was definitely cool. Number one, to the best of my knowledge, this was all practical effects for the most part. And this goes for the spirits, let's call them, that come out of the hand, okay? Because if you don't know, the movie is about these kids that get in possession of a hand, this like fake hand, which they said is like, they don't know exactly what it is, but they think it was a hand of a dead gypsy. You hold the hand, and then you say, hey, come into my body, whatever, I'll let you in. The spirit comes in and possesses them, and they film it, they put it online. Very cool concept, right? So the spirits that came through, especially the first one and the last one. The first one that you saw and the last one that the woman is wheeling around in the wheelchair, I thought were great. I thought it was scary. I thought the performances from all the actors, especially when they were getting possessed, was top-notch. Because that could go south quickly. I mean, there's a lot of movies that you watch with a concept like this, like, oh, if you look into the mirror, it's going to possess you. And then it's just like cheap effects, shitty acting, and it just totally throws you out. I thought the acting was great from everybody. They were possessed very well. So this, to me, was a very unsettling movie, especially the scene with the little brother in the hospital. That whole section, to me, was the most unsettling, and it really made me squirm. It really made me cringe, and that's the one that stuck with me the most. Probably also the first time that the main character touches the hand. You can't beat it. You can't beat it. The other thing I really liked was the story. I immediately went into it thinking, all right, it's just going to be a movie. They touch the hand, spirit comes out, possesses one of them, and it's probably going to jump from body to body to you don't know where it is. And then if somebody, half of the crew's going to die, and then they're going to find some shit to expel the spirit, right? I'm thinking I know what's going to happen. No way. No way. The one thing, there's two real storylines going on. One I will not discuss. One is the main character gets in contact with a mother, and she is in contact with a mother the whole time, and you're questioning, is this really her mother? Or is this like a spirit posing as her mother? So I really like that story, and the other story I'm not going to get into because it's really the meat of the movie. But I thought they couldn't have done a better job with how they made this, because they really focused on one person at the end of the day instead of being what I thought it was going to be, just kind of a shit show. They focused on one person at the end of the day. They really drove it home. So I thought that was great, okay? And I'm just going to say this right now. I'm going to agree with the Uber Eats driver, with the security guard, with the mailman, with everybody, and say, best horror movie of the year so far. The only one, I mean, you know, what did I see this year? Megan, and if I saw any other horror movies, Boogeyman. This beats them all. This was an awesome movie. The only ones that I could see beating it for me, and this is subjective, is Exorcist Believer and Five Nights at Freddy's. And I don't think that's an objective opinion. I think, in general, this will be the best horror movie of the year for the population. For me, the verdict is still out, but it will definitely be. I cannot see how this won't be in my top 5 favorite movies of the year. 5 out of 5, flawless movie. Ending was great. What do you think about it?
Well, you did a great job. I don't have much more to add, except that, like, I really felt the gravity of the suspense through the whole movie. It kept me on the edge of my seat, and I haven't enjoyed a suspenseful movie like that in a long time. And I did a little because I was a little confused on a couple things that happened. So after the movie ended, I went to the internet and looking for somebody to explain it. And I was glad to see I wasn't too far off from what I thought happened. But the thing that I also picked up was that the two people that directed the movie, that this is their directorial debut.
What a debut.
So, I think it showed. I think it, had that edge of people coming into the business. And it was a very tight movie.
Yeah, that's a good word.
I mean, I can't remember any part that I thought lagged.
Yeah, even like when the kids are waiting for the sister and they're smoking the cigarette, it's like still interesting what's going on. It was written well, you know?
Yeah.
Like very nonchalant, just like whatever scene, but it was just done well, every part of it. To what you're saying.
Yeah.
What do you rate
I
it?
definitely recommend it.
What do you give it? Give it a rating, Rich. What do you think about it?
Oh, I'll give it a 4.8
out of 5.
Out of 5.
Now, with that being said, what is it lacking to what would have made it a 5 for you?
I'm just leaving a 0.2 so something else could beat it.
No, a Flash. So Flash could beat it.
Flash doesn't beat it.
Oh my God.
It was I mean, like we said, it was a well-directed, tight, suspenseful movie.
Yeah.
I mean, with fantastic acting in it.
Right?
I mean, all those people were great actors. I mean, when you're talking about that scene in the hospital.
Oh God.
And the scene that put that young man in the hospital.
Yeah.
I mean,
come on, man. Come on.
That guy was young.
It was
do the acting that he did.
It was very hard to watch those two scenes.
Very hard to watch.
I was like, it's rare that I feel like that during a movie. So when everybody was talking about it, I'm like, there's no way. Like, what could they do? What could they do with this movie? Prove me wrong. Prove my ass wrong for sure. Yeah. Okay? Wow. So, I mean, shout out to the guys that directed, but they were, like you said, they were YouTubers, and they knocked it out the park. I don't know if they're going to do another one. I would not recommend it. But I'll say this.
What do you mean, another movie or like
a sequel to
Talk
this?
to Me Too.
A sequel to this, right?
No.
I will say this though. I don't recommend a sequel, right? But I can imagine that if these guys have an idea for a sequel, the care that they would put into it and the thought that they would have, it would be a good sequel. Generally, you have something like this, you leave it alone. But this is not a major motion picture studio making this, right? Like if this was like, you know, some other studio and it's like let's just crank out another one because of financial success, that's a bad way to go. If these guys decided a Talk to Me 2 needs to exist, I'm for it. I'm against it in theory, basically. Like there should, like, I don't know what you could do. I don't know why you would do it. But if they figure out a reason why, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. It's just that this day and age, everything gets a sequel or this or that. And we'll get into that because we're going to talk about Only Murders in the Building Season 3. Okay? Season 3. All right? Like, what are we doing here? Okay? Now, before we get to that, though, I watched another horror movie yesterday that I've been anxiously awaiting called Cobweb. Okay? It's not spaced like that. It's called Cobweb. It's not called Cobweb. Okay? So, the story is basically of a kid. He's maybe like 9 to 11 years old, and he's living with his two parents, and all of a sudden, he starts hearing knocking and talking in his walls, and he has to find out, like, you know, you have to find out what it is, what's in his walls, what's going on, and I will not give many spoilers for this as well, especially because I don't want to ruin what the hell is in the wall, because the whole movie, I'm thinking, what the hell is in the wall? And even after you find out, you kind of, it's just like, so the story of the movie is good, because to me, it's like Goosebumps-esque, very like simple storyline, which I like for a movie. There's not a lot going on. What's going on is what I said before, the kid's hearing this stuff, and his parents are freaking weirdos. His parents are freak shows. They leave him in the basement if he does anything wrong. He's getting bullied at school, and he's not having a good time, okay? And his parents, like, he ends up doing something in the movie, and his parents are like, listen, we don't solve things that way, so they lock him in the basement. They're, like, very, like, culty-looking people, okay? So that is a good aspect of the movie. It's a very creepy movie from that point of view, with that being said, like, from that perspective of not even just the thing in the wall, just the kid's life is a creepy life, who he has to deal with. And to me, the movie was shot, colored, edited beautifully. And I don't ever say that, really. I say that once a year where I'll be like, this movie looks great. I think this was a pretty low-budget movie, I think. And it was shot really well. It looks awesome. Like some of the shots they got the, you know, the kid coming down the steps, and they have the shadow of the parents. Just cinematography was great, right? So what I like about the movie is once you eventually kind of find out, once you think you know what's in that wall, you really don't until the end, okay? And let me tell you, the movie's good until the end, but it gets real good towards the end. I would say the last 10, 15 minutes, it turned into a whole different movie because it's really just like a Goosebumps book to me. It's like, what's in the wall? What is it? He's interacting with it. He has to find out what it is. He wants to help it. He's afraid to do this. What is his parents are going to find out that he's interacting with it. He got in trouble, blah, blah, blah. And then the last fucking 15 minutes, wham, you're like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And I kind of imagined what it was going to be at the end, but I didn't expect it to be what it was, okay? Now, I will say, up until the very end, the movie was going to be a 5 for me. And people were saying I was crazy for that, all right? But I enjoyed it that much. Mm-hmm. But the very end, they kind of dropped the ball. I don't want to say how. All I'm going to say is, if you see it, there are some questions that you're going to have. You're going to be like, what? Like, how? What? Let me just say this. Let me just say this. You're going to think, how was there no criminal investigation launched after this transpired. You're going to think like, how was no police activity? How was there no police activity after this movie? Like they ended it where there was no criminal like charges filed, and you're just like, what? Like how? Like how did this get here? Like how did this wrap up like that? Is I'm gonna say the wrap up was not great. So for me, I'm gonna say it was a 4 out of 5. I see a lot of people saying it was kind of a little bit above mid, right? Like so, a little bit above mid would be to me 3.5. I'm gonna say it was a really good movie until the very end, but the last fucking 10 minutes, banging. Absolutely banging movie. It's a creepy movie. Another movie that I believed was paced well. Not a lot of wasted motion in this movie for me. It was an hour and 28 minutes. All right. So you're in, you're out. You're done.
Yeah.
A lot of good suspense because it would be like, oh, he's going to go like he's going to go investigate this thing here, and his parents are already up his ass. So you know they're going to catch him. They catch him, and it's like, well, how's he going to get away with this now? Like, his parents are freak shows. He's going to get in mad trouble. He might get beat. He might get killed. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. A very suspenseful movie. Not as suspenseful as Talk to Me by any means. But, I mean, there were parts of the movie where I was like, hurry up. Because I got to know. I got to know what's about. Like, please, hurry up. I need to know. So, Cobweb is a sleeper movie. Not promoted at all. I don't even know how. I think I found out about it just from like looking up what horror movies are out. And that's how I found it. I don't see any commercials. I don't see anybody talking about it. So make sure you do yourself a favor and watch Cobweb. All right? Watch it before Halloween because it actually takes place around Halloween. Very good movie.
So what else could be in the wall except a giant spider or somebody caught in a spider's web in that cocoon?
I will not be answering any questions about that. All I'm going to say...
Cobweb.
Right.
There's got to be a giant spider somewhere.
Well, you know what, Rich? You got to watch the movie to find out. Because I ain't saying nothing. Watch the movie. Would love to know what you think about it. But until then... let me know what you think about Only Murders in the Building Season 3. Selena Gomez, Martin Short, and Steve Martin are back for the third time. There's been another murder because the first season just wasn't enough. Didn't fill everybody's appetite because let me tell you, before you say anything, I loved the first season. Okay? Second season came around. I'm like, all right, dragging it a little bit. They got to like half the second season. I said, your boy's out. I'm bored. How you made it to the end of that, I don't know. Somehow you made it to season 3, which I did. I'll let you know. I'll just kind of piggyback off what you say because I don't have a tremendous opinion. I wanted to see what they were going to like. What now? Like, what could they have done now? So you tell us what happened. What'd you think about it?
Well, the murder takes place outside the building.
Finally.
And they did a very creative thing to get it associated with the building.
Yeah, I did like that. I did like that.
Yeah.
The swerve. We'll call it the big swerve.
But I was thinking of you through about 50% of the first episode that I was probably as bored as you were. But what I've come to figure out, thinking about me watching any kind of mystery show, I'm a sucker for mysteries.
Yeah.
I am going to watch the third season to see how it ends. I mean, I could be homesick, from work, and there's a Murder, She Wrote, a repeat on. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, I just like the mystery genre.
Right.
And then, I mean, it's a good cast. I mean, they got Meryl Streep in it.
I was trying to figure out who that was until I saw an article about it. I was like, that's who that is. And she was good.
Yeah.
I liked her role. And Paul Rudd was great.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd was great. They got a real A-list cast this time. And not that they didn't have, I mean, they just keep getting a better cast every time.
Well, the Steve Martin's girlfriend is Andrea Martin.
That's Steve Martin's wife?
Well, that's his girlfriend on the show.
Well, who's that? What do you mean? Who's she in real life?
Oh, that's right. They have the same last name.
It sounds like, is that his wife? Is that his sister? His cousin?
No, they're not. I don't believe they're related at all.
Oh, okay.
She came to fame through SCTV, which was a sketch comedy show from Canada, and John Candy, Harold Ramis, I think his name, Rick Moranis was a part of that crew. Catherine, I forget her last name, but she was in a lot of movies. Eugene Levy was from that crew of SCTV. So Andrea Martin is, from that crew. And she plays, I believe, the mother in the My Greek Wedding movies. And I just, over the years, even when I was a kid and my dad was watching SCTV, I just always thought that Andrea Martin was very funny. And it's just another person that I'm just really happy to see continues to work regularly on TV and in Hollywood.
Right.
I probably didn't want to hear all that about Andrea Martin, but
I was thinking about how cool my Supreme shirt is, to be honest. After about the second name, I went, my lights went right out. My demographic is 20 to 40. So just keep that in mind when you start dropping names. Eugene Levy, my ears perked up for Eugene Levy. I was like, oh, I like him. I like him.
Yeah, probably a lot of those people
died.
Maybe a very, very small percentage of your audience might know them.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Well, they will be back for the AI acting when they start doing that. When they start just bringing people back to life. Most of them are
at the age where they might be replaced by AI.
Yeah. So what do you think about the first episode? You only watched the first one, right? Because there's like 3 out.
Yeah, I only watched the first one. I like the way it ended. I mean, I like the cliffhanger. So we'll see.
I will give it that.
I mean, season 2 got a very combobulated.
Like, I can't remember why I stopped watching it, but I know that I stopped watching it because I was just like disinterested. Like I was with it the first couple episodes. I'm like, this is good. Mm-hmm. I'm back. Like, they're back. There's another murder. Like, this is cool. And something happened to where I was like, I'm done. And I feel like I liked this first episode. I actually probably liked it more than you because I wasn't really that bored. I think there was like parts of it where I was like, all right, like, this is not like my fave part right now. I actually enjoyed it because I really like Paul Rudd's part. I like Meryl Streep's. I like her whole character, like, what she's going through. She gets chosen and then she messes up in the reading. So I like that, and I'm always a sucker. This is one thing I'm always gonna say when it comes up. For some reason, since I was a little kid, I love a horror movie or a murder mystery that takes place either on a movie set or during a play. For some reason, I love it. Like R.L. Stein's Midsummer Night's Scream. There's a lot of things that I'm trying to think of, like another one, but I know every time I see them, I love them just because of the atmosphere. Like, we're doing this movie and there's like a murder going on, or there's like we're doing a play and like somebody died and then we have to replace them and shit like that. Like, who's next in the cast to die? I like those. So that immediately got me interested more than the last season. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was funny, but I'm worried that like the concept won't last like the last time. Like, all right, maybe this doesn't need to go 12 episodes though. Like that's like, you know, like there's back when I was coming up on watching TV, shows would be like 20 episodes. They don't really do that anymore, you know? And that's good because you see a lot of filler episodes on those shows when looking back. Like looking back, you know, I watched like Vampire Diaries or something like that. And it's like there's 28 episodes in a season. I'm like, but by the half of the way through the season, I'm like, are we gonna go back in time again for a whole fucking episode? Like, how many times do I need to see some shit that has no purpose? You know, so I'm always a big fan. You know, I like the new Pretty Little Liars show that came out like a year or two ago. I love that 12 episodes, 15 max. Bring it home. I don't remember how long these are, but I think Only Murders in the Building is like 12. But even some, you know, like if this was a 3-parter, I'm in. 3-parter, you're done. 12 episodes is a little much for this concept for me. You know what I mean? 12 episodes for one murder is a lot to ask from somebody, in my opinion. Somehow they pulled it off for the first one. They did a great job. Loved it. But I think they drag it on. I mean, rightfully so. Listen, I don't like murder mysteries that much, all right? So if you do like a murder mystery, it may compel you for that long. I may just not be the audience for this show. I am for only a short amount of time. Like, I want a 3 to 4 part thing. You're done. You know, like I respect some series, like they did Fear Street on Netflix, a 4 or 3 part series. They were done. They never brought it back. They wrapped it up, 3 to 4 parts, and every part made sense. Every part was in a different time period. Part 1 was in the 80s. Part 2 was in the 90s. Part 3 was in like the 1800s. You're done. Stop dragging shit along. So I'm sure a lot of people will like this, and I will try my best to stick with this show. I'm going to give it a fair shot because I do feel like I may be bullying the show a little bit. I may be picking on it a little bit because the cast is always great. That's always the shining part of the show is the cast. But I feel like it just doesn't compel me for 12 episodes, you know. So for a first
looked up
episode, it's
the
good.
name of a mystery movie that I think you would like.
Okay.
And it's called Knives Out.
Oh, with Jamie Lee Curtis?
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
It was really good.
It came out like a year ago, right?
Well, it was 2019.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm off.
Yeah.
Why, it took place during a play?
It didn't take place in a play, but as far as a mystery movie, it was probably one of my favorites ever.
They got a new one coming out called, I think it's The Ghost of Venice or A Haunting in Venice, where it is a crew of people. They get together because the guy, he's like, oh, I don't believe in ghosts. This is like in like, I don't know, way back in time before cell phones. Let's put it that way. The guy got like a bowler hat on and like a curl mustache. So whatever time period that is, that's what this is. He's like, I don't believe in spirits, so I want you to bring a bunch of psychics together and we'll see like who's the fake one, if this is legit. Somebody ends up dying and he's like, no, it wasn't a ghost. One of you killed this person in the crib and we're not going to leave till we find out who it is. And it looks like in the movie, slowly over time, the spirits are convincing him that they're real and they have to find out like what happened. So I saw the trailer and I thought this is like a perfect movie for me and probably a good movie for you because like right in the middle. It's like paranormal and murder mystery. That's what it looks like from the trailer. So maybe I'm wrong, but we'll have to check that out. That? A Haunting in Venice. See if you can see when it comes out. See if you can look that up. But that looks like a pretty good movie. I clicked on it thinking like, whatever, a haunting, like it's gonna be kind of lame. It doesn't sound like that interesting, but concept looks good. Like, oh, I don't believe in ghosts. And then he sees like a little girl. He's like, oh, how long have you been in the house? She's like, I've been here for a very long time. And then he turns over and the lady's like, who are you talking to? He's like, I'm talking to this little girl. And then she's not there. And he's like, oh, wow, ghosts are real. I didn't know that. He starts like getting convinced that the ghosts are real. So it looks cool.
So can I mention a series that I like to warn people about?
Oh, absolutely. Let's put out a warning.
So this series I think was done somewhere around 2014, but I just finished it,
Uh-oh.
and it's called Falling Skies. It's about an alien invasion.
If there's one thing you love, it's an alien
Well,
invasion.
I love alien invasion,
Right.
and I was enjoying the heck out of this program. It's 5 seasons long.
Okay.
But the woman who recommended it said that her and her husband did not like the way it ended.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you that if you want to enjoy it up to the last episode, then go ahead and watch it if alien invasion is your thing. But I'm telling you that if you have an ounce of sense in your little finger, you're going to say, I cannot believe that they ended this series like this.
Isn't that the worst? Isn't that the
was
worst?
awful.
When you get
It
to a
was
show,
dumb.
you love it, and then at the end, they botch it. Like, I felt horrible for everybody that loved Game of Thrones because they were they waited like 6 years in between every season, and then like they add all this stuff in, and people are waiting for all the dots to connect, and then they just blow it. Kind of like Halloween Ends, if I may.
Exactly.
It's kind of like Halloween Ends, which we will get to because I will bring it up a little bit later in the show when we talk about something else. But I mean, it's just the worst when they just blow it like that. So you're saying if you're able to suspend your disbelief to a tremendous extent, watch the show.
Yeah.
Wow. I can't believe
They didn't even do a good job with what they revealed and how they killed it.
God.
I mean, they didn't even do that well.
You know what?
It's like,
I'm gonna say
he's just gonna kill it now after 5 seasons.
I'm gonna say this. I try not to do spoilers. The show came out in 2014. I doubt anybody that's listening to this right now will watch 5 seasons of it. How did it end?
Okay.
After 5 years, how did it end, Rich?
This thing that they were protecting in Washington, D.C. with like this force field so they couldn't see what the alien invaders were doing.
Who's protecting it?
They were hiding their queen.
Who's protecting it? The aliens or the government?
The aliens.
Okay. It was their queen.
They had a queen, like a queen bee.
All right, that seems reasonable.
No, it's dumb, especially if you like Star Trek and you like the Borg. It was lame.
But that sounds
lame.
Is it the execution? Because hearing it doesn't sound bad.
No, because that is the last thing that I would have. I thought that they were going to reveal something, and I was going to go, wow, I didn't expect that. the queen thing has been done. It's been done. It's been done well. It's been done mediocre, and they did it badly. And then there was no mention of them ever having a queen. That's the thing.
Well, they wanted to
like
surprise you,
race
Rich.
to begin with.
They wanted to surprise you. Wasn't it a surprise? You were surprised?
No, I was surprised at how disappointed I was. And
wow.
And then this is the topper. This is the proverbial cherry on the sundae. Once he killed her, the main character kills her, all the other aliens and all the other hybrid aliens that they created all start blowing up one by one.
Definitely. That's what, when you kill the queen, chopped off the head, everybody's going to die. That's obvious, yeah. I can see that coming from a mile away. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. I mean, that's the way you got to wrap it up, yeah.
I mean, if it set him in chaos, it would have at least appeased me. But no. He kills her, and then they all start one by one in the distance blowing up.
You know, I gotta say, I could see your frustration because, especially if you've watched a lot of things where that's been the ending, and then you watch 5 seasons of something, and that's the ending, something that's been done a million times in that genre, which I don't watch, I could see the frustration. I could see it.
Because I was starting to think that what they might unveil is that there were some people left in the United States government that instead of dying were helping the aliens or something like that. Like a real conspiracy kind of thing. I thought, with everything that led up to that, and the way that the main character is this history teacher, and it would just be like this complete violation of this complete betrayal of America. It would have fit.
Yeah.
And it would have been it would have been, oh wow, but here comes this spidery looking queen bee.
Wow. That's the worst. That's the worst. I don't know what's worse, that or when a show just goes on for so long you just want to stop watching it. Like, you ever have a show that goes on for too many seasons and you're just like, all right, like, we're not wrapping this up, so I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Well, I wrapped up, what show I wrapped up.
Which one was that one? I forgot.
The Star Trek Discovery.
Oh, yeah, it's my favorite show. Star Trek Discovery. I wish you would have done a podcast about that. I really... Those mornings.
Well, they got another season coming out.
You gotta watch it. You gotta see
the
it.
last season.
You gotta see it. Speaking of having to see things, let's talk about a few trailers real quick. Saw X is coming out. You ever seen a Saw movie, Rich?
I have not seen the Saw movies.
All right, here's your homework. Watch Saw 1 and report back. Just watch Saw 1.
Right.
Absolutely classic horror movie. All right. You like that? Watch Saw 2 and 3. After that, you're on your own because I don't remember what happens. I'm pretty sure I've seen all of them at this point. I know I've seen all of them, but I don't remember like the story. It gets crazy. It's like this person was doing it, but now this person's is the mastermind, and now that it goes over here, and then so it was a long series, like nine movies, whatever. Because Saw X, I think, is Saw 10. So I see that Saw 10 is coming out, and I'm like, come on. And then it's like, well, now the original mastermind's in the movie. And I'm like, how could they make this? Like, what? Is he back? He's dead. What are they doing? But then I watch the trailer, and I see what they did, and I go, all right. What it is if you didn't see it, so Saw 1, this is going to be a prequel to Saw 1, it looks like, all right? Because in Saw 1, the mastermind, I'm going to have to spoil something for you, kind of, so sorry. But you find out that the mastermind of Saw 1 is doing it because he has cancer, okay? And I'm literally ruining the fucking movie for you, which I hate doing this right now. Like, I'm ruining the whole movie. But you find out that the mastermind of the whole charade has cancer, okay? So it goes back to there where he has his cancer. And he does like this experimental treatment in this movie, in the new movie. And you end up finding out that he got shafted and they didn't do anything. And they find out, he goes to his other doctors and they're like, listen.
It's a movie about Pfizer.
Basically. And they're like, listen, they didn't take out the tumors in you. You still have cancer. Now it's even worse. So he's like, all right, you want to do that? All right, fuck you. So now he gets them all together and he does a Saw game with them. So a Saw game for you, Rich, is like, you don't know what it is. He puts them in traps and they got to get themselves out. And they brutalize themselves. It can kill you. It's like the worst thing ever. It's awesome. They put you in like these head things, and like there's a timer on it. And if the timer goes off, it'll snap your whole face off. But in order to get the key, you gotta like dig in. The key's in your freaking stomach, and you gotta dig the key out by digging in your own stomach. Crazy stuff. Okay. So I like that they did that. They brought the guy back in the right way as a prequel. And I think this is going to be an awesome movie. Will I see it? Yeah, probably. I don't really like those movies because I don't really like torture movies per se. I don't like to see people get tortured. I hate it. So I may see it, I may not, but I think regardless if I'm going to see it, I think it's going to be a really good movie. So Saw X is coming out at the end of September, I believe. When is Saw X coming out? Let's see. It is coming out, because I can't remember right now. It is coming out, September 29th. So you can go see that. I also saw a trailer for a little movie. Looks like a little independent movie called The Elevator Game, which is funny because Electra and I were just talking about The Elevator Game on the Halloween in July in early August episode. The Elevator Game is an internet game that was spread on the internet where it says if you go to a building where the elevator has 13 floors, you have to go to a floor in a certain pattern. So you go to the 7th floor, and then you go to this floor, and then you go to the 13th floor, and then you go to the basement of that building, and then you'll be in hell, basically. They say that if you do that, that's what will happen in real life. So now they're making a movie out of this, and it's like, oh, this girl, she played the elevator game, and she disappeared. So now these group of friends are going to play it on camera, and it looks like they end up playing it, but then they don't finish it, so then the spirit tracks them around. It's going to be cool. It's going to be whatever. It's not going to be mind-blowing. It's not going to imagine it's better than Talk to Me. That'd be insane. I can't even imagine. That'd be wild. But that is coming out in September for sure. September 15th, I believe. So September 15th, the Elevator Game movie is coming out. I'm excited to see it because that's like a story from my childhood. You know, it's like Bloody Mary. It's like The Midnight Man. Mm-hmm. It's one of these movies. So I don't think a lot of people will be interested, but I will be reviewing it eventually on the show. Now, finally, we got to talk about this. Another franchise you are probably unaware of totally, Pasty, is Five Nights at Freddy's. A major franchise. It started off as video games. Well, it is a video game franchise that is now getting its first movie. After many, many, many years, many, many different fake outs, Blumhouse, the best, besides Halloween Ends. Big blemish there on the reputation. But that's fine because they made many other great movies, is doing Five Nights at Freddy's. And everybody's excited. The trailer looks awesome. I'll send you the trailer pass so you can check it out. So, the word is, it's coming out October 27th. It's going to be on the Cock. It's going to be in the theaters. You know I'm going to be watching it on Justin's Cock as I should be. And the new word on the street is, trailer looks awesome, by the way. I don't think I even talked about the trailer, but trailer looks great. All the animatronics look great. Blumhouse is known for practical effects, so I don't think most of this is going to be CGI. It's all going to be practical stuff. Word on the street is, from some reputable sources, from what I understand, this movie is going to be pushing 3 hours. Okay? Now, the word is it's going to be a 3-picture deal. That came out from one of the actors. So the first installment is apparently going to be about 3 hours long. Okay? Now, that may seem a little daunting for a first movie in a franchise, but what I will say is, if any movie this year has potential to be 3 hours and keep your attention, it's going to be Five Nights at Freddy's. Because there's been like 10 games, okay? And the way they do the games, there's a story there, but there's all this, a lot of them, they don't even have a real story. I think the last 3 that came out have a story that you could follow. Because the other ones are just like, you're just trying to survive the night. And there's little clues and Easter eggs as to what's really going on. So you could spend days looking up theories as to what's going on in this franchise, and none of them are confirmed at all. You'll never really know. Like, people make hours-long videos, like they'll go through the timeline of what they think. Like, okay, I think Five Nights at Freddy's 1 comes first, and then 2, and then this one, and then that one, and then this one goes on here, and none of them are confirmed. And then there'll be wars about what's going on no, you're wrong about this because in 1993 this happened over here. So there's so much lore going on that if any movie can be 3 hours and still have 2 movies left, it's gonna be Five Nights at Freddy's. So I would be disappointed if this movie ain't 2:30, ain't 2:45, ain't 2:50. I am so excited for this movie. I cannot wait for this movie. October 27th cannot come fast enough. I can't wait to go on Justin's cock. It's going to be awesome. Justin's cock can't come quicker enough. I've never looked forward to Justin's cock more than I have now. Pastor, you got to go on Justin's cock on October 27th.
All right.
And
well,
if
I heard why it's 3 hours long.
Why?
Because there's a dream sequence in it, in which one of the characters dreams an alternate storyline of Halloween Ends that was good.
Oh my God, that'd be great. Please do that, because God, and this is the thing I'm thinking, right? Like, so the pressure for them to make this movie is insane, because the fan base for Five Nights at Freddy's, which I am a part of, I mean, vaguely. Like, I like to watch people talk about it, but I don't play the games because it's not my kind of game. I like to shoot things, and that's it. So, but I love to, like, when Security Breach Ruin just came out, I watched people play the whole game. I love it. I love to hear people talk about what they think happened in this game, what they think happened in that game. The pressure that must be on Blumhouse to make this movie must be insane, because the anticipation is insane. I heard that, like, so there's a thing about the eyes with the characters. Like, even like people get riled up about the color of the eyes. So I think what I heard is in the first trailer, the eyes were red and people lost it. They were like, no, that can't be. So in the new trailer, the eyes are white. Now, if I trust anybody to do it, it's Blumhouse, because they take, for the most part, they take very much care of their franchises. They take a lot of care into their movies. So I think they're gonna knock this movie out of the park, especially because the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's is on set at like all times, and he's credited in the screenplay. So there is almost no way they're gonna fuck this up, okay? And especially they can't mess this up after Halloween Ends. There is no way. You tell me if I'm wrong, that they're not going into this next 3-picture deal, and even The Exorcist, because this is what they do, the Blumhouse. They like to do the trilogies, right? Great, that's fine. The trilogy's good. I could do that. It's not 7 movies, because even The Exorcist is going to be a trilogy. That's why it's called Exorcist Believer. That's going to be a trilogy, and that's another movie that we agreed on looks awesome, right? You agreed?
Mm-hmm.
The way the chicks look when they're possessed looks awesome. Some really unsettling scenes at the end there. They're bringing back the mother from The Exorcist. There's got to be some pressure on them for these next 2 franchises after what happened when Halloween Ends, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there has to be, because all they had to do was land the plane, and somehow they botched it. What I think happened is, like, you know, Blumhouse, the guy that creates it doesn't write the movie, so he just outsources all this stuff. You know, he hires the writers, and at the end, whatever writer it was for Halloween Ends got crazy. But I bet you, after this, the guys at Blumhouse are probably going to take extra care to these trilogies.
But didn't you say that they rewrote the whole script?
That's what I heard. I heard that whoever wrote Halloween Ends, they had an official script ready to go. And then during the pandemic, they had time because of, you know, all the delays. So they ended up being like, fuck it, we're just going to redo. We got another idea. I don't know if that's exactly correct. I don't know what the original idea was. I don't know if Corey Feldman was supposed to be involved to a lesser extent. That's the word on the street. But if I was Jason Blum, I would be in there with a shotgun to the writers' freaking heads. And Halloween, I would have the graph for the financials of Halloween Ends on a smart TV where you see it go, and just go, shh, have a good time. Because you can't do that again. Mm-hmm. Word is, this is a very like underground theory right now. It's just coming out that they got Nightmare on Elm Street, and I was just talking about that. Word is that Blumhouse is doing Nightmare on Elm Street, that they're going to do some kind of hybrid between CGI, because Robert Englund apparently can't do it because of his age, like the stunts, because Freddy's flying around. He's getting, if you watch Freddy versus Jason, he's getting thrown into walls and shit. So apparently he can't do some of this stuff. I mean, they're stuntmen, obviously, but so apparently they're going to do like kind of a CGI hybrid thing. This is basic, like this is just coming out now. This is like underground stuff right now that we're talking about. None of this is confirmed. So word is that they got Nightmare on Elm Street. And again, if anybody can do it, it's Blumhouse. I have total faith that they're not going to fuck anything up again like this. I truly believe that. I don't think they're going to let that happen. Because from what I understand, from every movie I've seen, even movies that are not that great, they're great to me. I love Blumhouse. So I think Exorcist Believer, they're going to knock it out of the park for the trilogy, and I think Five Nights at Freddy's is going to be absolutely insane. I think it's going to crash Peacock. I think Justin's cock can't handle it. I don't think Justin's cock going to be able to handle all the attention.
No, it doesn't sound like his cock's going to be able to stand up.
Because let me tell you this. That movie's 3 hours probably. I'm going to be on Justin's cock for at least 6 because I'm watching it twice that day. So Justin's cock's not going to be able to handle it. Like you said, ain't going to be able to stand up after that.
Yep.
So I'll send you the trailer. You let me know what you think about it. But do you have any final words before we get out of here?
No, I think I'm good.
You think you're done?
I think I'm done.
You've expressed your discontent about society, about the Alien show.
Yep.
You're done. All right. Well, tell everybody where they can find you. Tell everybody, and also tell everybody what's going on with your podcast because you've made a little change. Tell them about all that as we conclude.
So the No Name Yet podcast is still available on Rumble, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and No Name Yet podcast itself was going to be once a month. The other 3 weeks is going to be the No Name Yet podcast Iron Sharpens Iron edition. And we are talking about the Hebrew and the Greek scriptures in the Bible and trying to break them down to make them accessible to somebody that has not been exposed to the scripture or doesn't know much about them. And I just dropped a Bible Basics, and I'm going to be dropping another Bible Basics soon and very soon to even break that down even more.
Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, you know that if you're watching this on YouTube and you want to take us around, you don't got YouTube Premium, you can catch us on Apple, on Spotify, all that, and vice versa. If you're on those platforms and you want to see our beautiful faces, hit us up on YouTube. Gritty Knows Best. We got the GKB Clips channel that you can subscribe to that we're putting clips on again after we have to dust the cobwebs off. Justin is taking the reins on that. I get text messages at 3 a.m. Why are you not uploading the fucking clips? We need clips up right now. Make a fucking thumbnail. I'm like, all right. So he's bossing me around, making me put clips up. So the GKB Clips channel is up. Peace and love. See you next time.